nobody like this. You ain't seen nobody like this. You hear my sound all over town singing. Whoa. You ain't seen nobody like this. You ain't seen nobody like this. You hear my sound all over town singing. Whoa. I think there's something in the water. If you wanna take a sip, but be careful what you wish for. The faint of heart can't handle it. Everybody wants a piece of someone else's prize, but it ain't free, it don't come cheap. Only the strongest will survive. You ain't seen nobody like this.
Good evening and welcome to San Antonio FC Group Therapy on SA Soccer Roundtable. I'll be your host, not the chief therapist. I think that's going to be Royce and Rafa here for that here. But Royce, nice to have you back after a couple of weeks. How are you feeling?
What's up, guys? Much better, although the storm has decided to knock internet out, and it's been kind of a weird evening, but that's kind of to be expected, right? It's the first half of 2021, and
it's a stormy season so far, so it would fit.
There you go.
Rafa, what's up? Still got the beard?
Still got the beard. Hopefully it'll come out soon. It has to. That already. It's getting too hot for it.
So we're going to start out going over the Athenians. They had another successful weekend, 4-0 win over Backcountry. Amanda Smith, 2 goals. Jade Piper and Ashley Cathro also was able to get the third and fourth goal from there here. Looking at the standings, Lone Star Republic's in first place with 24 points, 8-0. Athenians also at 24 points, but they played one more game. And then Side FC 92 and Austin Elite are battling for that last playoff spot. So this weekend's the last one. Lone Star Republic plays at Alcarane's Fort Worth and then plays at home to Side FC. The Athenians make the trek up to FC Austin and Round Rock. So if you have the opportunity to go up, please go up and support the Athenians and also FC Austin Elite. And Side FC plays 2 away matches, one against Wilco, which they play at Round Rock, and then at Lone Star for that here. So still a lot to play for. For the ladies here, the Athenians, are playing for playoff position. We don't have, as of yet, the details of, when the playoffs or where the playoffs will be. But of course, SA Soccer Roundtable will try to make the matches if we can, and also we'll definitely be giving some coverage to the ladies there. Who, if you attended this last week's tailgate, one of the bright spots here, they were out there at the tailgate with the Crocketeers and 210 Alliance. So that was a lot of fun if you had the opportunity to go out, as well as with Mission City out there as well here. We'll start out with the tailgate, because with the Athenians, anything exciting that you saw from the tailgate there, Rafa? There was quite a few Bold fans that came down at the beginning of Copa Tejas, La Cinco, the sports group, from the Bold, and they had a pretty good turnout.
Los Cinco Doce, yeah.
Los Cinco Doce. It turned out very well for that here, so I was excited to see that. But turning to the heartbreaking news, I want to do the standings here. As everybody's probably aware of, San Antonio did end up losing. So looking at the Copa Tejas standings, RGV with their win over El Paso remains in first place, although they've got 6 games played. With 2-2-2. El Paso and Austin Bold both with 6 points, but only 3 games have played. So, they're in a lot better position than RGV is. So the standings don't really give full weight. And even San Antonio FC, which still are winless in Copa Tejas with 2 draws, 2 losses. There should be 2 points here, not 3 points. Should be for that here. So they're still not technically out of it, but they've got some work to do. Looking at the standings in the Mountain, RGV's in first place with 20 points, 11 games played. El Paso, the Switchbacks, who SAFC plays in Colorado Springs at a 1 o'clock kickoff on the 24th, I believe, because it's not this weekend for that here. And then Austin Bold, with their win over us, jumped New Mexico United. So they're in fourth, and we're sitting in sixth place, with 12 points for that here. Just a quick look out to the Pacific. Rising, 22 points, first place, San Diego Loyal. This has to give San Antonio fans some comfort. They started out 0-4. They've got on a run here recently. They're now second in their division, 12 games played at 18 points. Orange County and LA Galaxy, kind of do it. I think the team that is struggling, out in the Pacific, like San Antonio, is Sacramento, which is 2-2 and 5 losses with a -4 goal differential. So, and over in the Central, Birmingham, Louisville, Tulsa, Indy, Oklahoma City's also rebounded from a poor start. And then Tampa, Pittsburgh, Hartford, and Charlotte Independence are there. The Fighting Billy Forbes, Miami FC's, 1 point out as well here. So that kind of gets us kind of caught up at this point here. So, we'll start with you, Royce, here on your initial thoughts on Saturday's game.
Well, sorry, I'm trying to play dad here at the same time because my kid just knows exactly how to hurt himself. No, it's good. We can talk. I mean, Saturday was it a well played game on either side? No. But San Antonio was by far the best team on the pitch. They created the most chances. They looked the more dangerous team. Austin sat back a lot. They just wanted to clog things up. They always had 2 or 3 guys on Jose whenever Jose would go dribble forward. And that was their main thing, was to just eliminate Jose dribbling and eliminate Patino and Dylan making runs. And by nullifying those 2 things, that was kind of that was their number one key. Did they do that well? No. The only thing they did well was they tackled Jose off the ball. But honestly, Dylan should have had a hat trick. Shoulda, woulda, coulda. Patino should have had a goal. Ball didn't go in the net. Austin got the ball on a broken play, put it in the net from zone 14 once again. Oh, that was terrible. Don't do that again.
I was testing it out.
And that's it. Austin got a half chance, took it well. San Antonio, even when Austin went a man down, couldn't take advantage. That's it. That was pretty much the game right there.
Here's where I'll counter with you, where you said, and I agree with you, the first 15, 20 minutes, San Antonio had a lot of chances, but, and we'll get to this in the second half, when they were up a man, I didn't think San Antonio was going to score. I sat back there just, on how the Bold, and you knew they were going to park the bus, down a man, up a goal. You're going to
absolutely
do what they did. There's no fault in what they did. But I had zero confidence that San Antonio was scoring. And part of that, I think, is confidence. And that goes back to what you were saying with Dylan, where he had 2-3 point blank shots and
very high percentage shots that
they just,
for whatever reason,
they luck wasn't on his side. Goalie was in the right spot, and we're here crying over beer. Rafa, your thoughts? I know you and I kind of said I think you're going to be a little bit more downer than Royce, I believe.
I mean, I agree with what Royce was saying as far as the game, but there's little things I do want to point out as far as tactic-wise. Basically, Austin Bold's coach outclass and outcoach
Serrano.
Marcino. And
Completely disagree.
well,
But go ahead. Finish your thought. We'll get there.
remember, it's about wins and losses, and if you're at the winning end of the score, you got out coached. You know, that's what matters. Like when you come to coaching, either you win or you're gonna lose. So
Okay.
and I think there's some little things that need to be fixed, and you know. I know you mentioned about Gallegos. You know, they did. You know, like I said, he was getting double team and so forth. There were plays that I would see him. He just didn't know who to give the ball to. Like the play just stopped right there, or there was no option. One of the things I even told Harry during the game I was frustrated with is we had on the first half no left winger. No one was out there on the left wing to at least receive a ball. So if Jose couldn't move forward, you know, or back to the right and say, hey, well, let me swing it out to the left, whoever's open there. That way maybe they can send a cross in. That wasn't there. And what was the end result? He turns over the ball. And I think he had double-digit turnovers in the whole game, and that killed us. The same thing goes with Epps. Epps, same thing, had the ball, went as far as he could, and then like, okay, I can't go this way, but we don't have anybody on the other side, so we can't pass the ball. And so they end up losing it. Try to dribble to 2 to 3 guys. It's not gonna cut it. But also, like I said, our forwards have to finish. Especially, like I said, Dylan should have had a hat trick. Those are easy scores. I could have put those in the net. You know, being a forward.
Let's not go that forward. They are professional athletes.
I was gonna say
I'm good at headers.
I'm not saying you couldn't do it, but I'm not. You know, that's like me saying I can go run a 5K tomorrow. Could I? Yes, but you know,
if I could score 4 hitters in a game, he could have done at least one. But you know, just kind of like, you know, it's, I don't know. You have to build. What I'm not happy about is the forward play is they've become too predictable. They have to create opportunities and space, and that's something that I preach a lot, especially the kids that I've coached in the past. One of the things that I really focus on is, and in order for you to get good opportunities to score or create chances, is you have to learn how to play without the ball and create space. You know, even if you receive the ball on the outside, you're going to pull a couple people away, and that's going to open up, you know, your teammates to have shots and so forth. And we really haven't really seen that. We're just kind of force feeding the ball in the middle. And I think even Danielle mentioned on a tweet, you know, we're kicking the ball over everyone's head, and we're losing it every time. I like to see it kind of work it up a little bit, and then let do maybe a quick, wall pass, 1-2 connection or overlap. I think we can hurt teams like that, and we can score goals like that because we have the players for it, but we haven't been creative, doing those. And that's something that needs to be fixed. And if it's not fixed, one goal, I think one goal is not going to, not scored. I think one goal in the last few games, it's not going to cut it. And especially if we're going to try to make that run into the playoffs, because we need to be at least averaging 2 to 3 goals a game.
I have a question here for you, and this is what Rafa, kind of was telling me during the game there is, and even from the start, is instead of having Nathan play out on the wide side, you put Jose back, on the left side for there here or the right side, if you switch him and Epps, but you put Nathan in the middle because where we were sitting there, in 114, Nathan, the 2 forwards, Jose were all basically in front of the goal. And like I said, you could look from the edge of the goal line all the way down the pitch, and there were nobody there. And I understand sometimes, you shift with that there, but and I think that's the frustration with the team here is, yeah, you get it over to one side, but if everybody's in the middle, guess what? All the defense is in the middle as well. Your thoughts on maybe having Nathan maybe play more center? Basing on how the lineup was and putting Jose more on the outside, or do you prefer Jose in the middle? Because he is a playmaker.
Yeah, I prefer Jose on the outside, and here's the reason why. It gives him more opportunities especially 1v1 opportunities to beat the guy on the ball, and then either take a shot or send a cross in. Kind of what you saw in the Monarchs game when he was on the outside. He did a lot of damage on the outside, but when he's in the inside, he's just got too much traffic in there, and he kind of overthinks things. And when he should be giving up the pass, that's when the play gets killed. So I think Nathan's more accustomed playing in the middle because I think he does like to feed the ball, and I think that's where he's more comfortable. Because every time we saw him during last game, he was always in the middle where he should have been on the outside to be that release pass for Gallegos, and that was not occurring. So I think that's something they need to look into if they are going to go with that lineup again. Is keep Nathan in the middle, have Epps and Gallegos on the outside. If you want to flip flop them, hey, go ahead. Just kind of change it up, but keep Nathan. I think he's more effective in the middle. Plus, he can sneak in, especially if one of our forwards comes out to the flag to receive a pass. He's another forward that can go in there, head the ball in, or get a shot. They're on top of the 18 or within the 6. So that's something maybe, hopefully, if I know there were some about the going up into this game against Querétaro. This is a time to experiment. You can care less about winning or losing this game. Go ahead and try that out. See if it works. And if it comes out to say, hey, you know what? We are kind of penetrating. We're getting plays. We're getting shots. That's something we can get ready for the game against the Switchbacks on the 15th.
So let me address pretty much everything you said, and you are correct on that. But that exact tactical twist is by design, and that's exactly how it's supposed to work. Is it's supposed to put more guys in the middle. Now, whenever you start Jose in the middle, yeah, for real, Aaron, nobody get hurt, please, in these next 2 matches. I'm not even sure why we're really doing them, but please, nobody get hurt.
That's a whole separate discussion.
All we need is more injuries. The number one thing that I'm going to say, and I'll say it until the season ends or until we finally have a healthy lineup. In the 2021 season, Alan Marcinez, San Antonio FC has not had a fully fit roster.
Hasn't started as one.
Stupid. All right. Now, let's go with the starting Jose in the middle, Nathan out wide, and Gleedle as the left back, and mainly Nathan on the left side, which is very important in this. What that does is whenever Jose goes forward, you lose somebody in the middle as a defensive presence. Nathan comes in, he is that defensive presence when you are in possession to help out Lindley, because Lindley has been overrun when he was a single midfielder. That's what happened in New Mexico. Now the left side is completely empty. What happens on the left side then? Gleedle comes up and he takes that space. So that is a tactical twist that is very much on purpose by Alan Marcina, because also in the back you have Varela, you have Doyle, you have Varela, and then next to Varela is Matthew Duplain, who's not going anywhere. Matthew Duplain he's not going to go up.
He's staying back.
He's going to stay back. So you basically have a 3 back. So in that instance, you have a 3-4-3 in possession, and then out of possession, it comes back to a 4-4-2. That's by design, and it worked really well because Austin didn't have any dangerous chances in that match. They had a broken chance that they turned into a goal by a really good play, but they didn't get any clear big chances according to the soccer stats.
But one thing we want to see more, and that's the thing that you mentioned about Gleedle. You can even ask Harry. We didn't see much of our outside defenders really get into the attack.
Are you serious? Are you
really the whole point of bringing up your defender up?
Gleedle made so many runs on the left to cross the ball in. I think he crossed the ball more than anybody in the entire match.
I only saw maybe about 3 or 4, but there was times that there was so much space. There was so much space that he wasn't really going. I guess more had to do because he was concerned about Omar's speed. But then the thing is, when I mentioned Harry, he did make an adjustment on that, and Omar was pretty much, taken care of. He was not a factor after that.
No.
So I give kudos for that adjustment he made. But there were times that, because like if he would really kind of push up a little bit, when he's got to recognize, okay, look, he's got the ball in that. I see the space. I need to go up there right away and let that defender, make a decision. Do I go inside to pin him in, the guy goes in, or do I stay outside? If I go in, guess what? I'm going to get the ball and be able to send a lot more crosses in. And like I said, they did well as far as the shape and so forth of the, defending when one of the outside defenders do go up and attack. But I like to see a little bit more, kind of more of the runs. Like, if you ever see Marcelo play, do a little bit more of that. And
if you can see the screen, Gleedle's average position, and I know it's not 100%, don't get me wrong, but his average position's more in the middle of the pitch, and I think that's the issue that we're running into is.
So also you have to remember that he went back there to receive the ball. He was back there a lot.
Back and forth too.
He was back there a lot on set pieces. You got to remember that. And corner kicks, he is in the middle along with Matthew DePlane. So they're right there in the middle. Those are the two guys on defensive duty for corner kicks. So you got to remember that there was quite a few corners. At the same time, he came back to get the ball and he ran it forward to cross it. And he was playing 1-2s with Nathan until Nathan got taken out.
But this right here where you have Dylan,
correct,
Jose, and Patino. So that's the issue, and that's what makes this look so open. Is these three right here?
And I understand what he's trying to do. He's trying to overload the middles to create space. But the thing is, defenses are recognizing that, and they're able to. It's becoming predictable. So especially if they go to a zone defense, they can defend it. So if I'm as far as my attacking tactic, how do I fix that? How do I say, okay, you know what? I need to create. What other options do I have out there to free up? And that's the thing. We need to free up our forwards, or is our forwards not doing to get freed up to create those plays?
So I can explain once again, I can explain what's going on there. A frustrating thing, I will agree with Rafa, is that consistently Justin Dillon and Santi Patino make the exact same run. They mirror each other and they make the same run. That's never going to get it. This is why, as a slight change, well, you know what, Harry, you're going to ask what slight change would you like to see? We'll go into it there. But they make similar runs. They make mirrored runs to occupy the center backs. The reason that Jose's in the middle right there, and the reason that I forgot what the other number was. It was Jose and somebody else in the middle along with the other two.
Epps.
The reason they're there, I'm sorry,
Nathan Epps. Or Epps?
It was not Nathan. Nathan's back. Epps is out wide. There's somebody else in the middle. Anyway,
Lindley.
So you got Lindley,
Lidl,
Nathan.
There's four guys between the Austin Bold center backs for average position. It's
Epps, Patino, Jose, and Dylan.
Well, the reason Epps and Jose are there is that they're trying to get the ball. They're trying to make that run beneath the strikers. So the strikers go up, they get the ball beneath, and they consistently did that. And they both, Ollie Wright was also there a lot. And Ollie got two clear chances that if he puts them on the net, those are goals. But he kicked one into the bar section above the bar section on the little walkway over there. And another one he kicked well wide. If he puts those on the frame, those are probably goals, which they were making the similar run where Patino and Dylan went up. They occupied the center backs. There was nobody on the penalty spot. The ball came back to the penalty spot, didn't hit the damn net. You got to hit the net.
I know for me, and I'm not a soccer tactician like you guys here. There was one play in the first half. Nathan and I want to say Dylan did the same exact run, but 5 to 7 yards space between them. Where they were, on our side here on 114, which was the left side right here. Yeah, on the left side, and both of them, it was amazing on how they both ran that same run. Yeah, and you could tell it's coaching.
Exactly,
you can tell it's coaching when it comes to that.
Correct, because somebody is supposed to be in the middle to take the ball and finish the damn thing. Never happened, and that was a problem. on Saturday was
what
finishing.
I like to see more as far as the runs is the one adjustment. It's not to be predictable as far as the two forwards running the same thing. Is one running diagonal to the flag, and also to receive the
That's
ball.
what I was
To
going to get
receive
to.
the ball, to receive the ball for him to either cross it back to either Dylan or Patino, whoever receives it, or up top on the 18.
1-2 where it come wide.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have someone like Gallegos or Epps back on the 18 for a
Yep.
shot there. That's what I want to see a little bit more. That I think that will help things improve, and that way it will keep us. One of the, especially the thing on the dribble, if that forward pulls that defender out towards the flag, guess what? There's a space right there in that gap that Gallegos or Epps can take in and take a shot from outside, or even Nathan. So I think like I said, that's the key. I think to the next one I want to see, especially against the Querétaro, is can they make that one sacrifice himself for the play? Like I said, we're still gonna have someone there for the cross, whether Dylan or Patino, but we'll still have numbers to still get inside the box to play back up top to the key or send that cross. We get one in the near post and we got someone back in the back post. And that's what I want to see tomorrow night. And if they can do that, now we can build something up, and then maybe that frustration and that'll things clear up and keep other teams from us being predictable on our runs. And now it's like, okay, now their defense have to make adjustments, and maybe that will help free up a lot of our guys to get more opportunities to score. But that's the thing, goes back to they have to put the ball in the back of the net when they have a chance.
That's what it's going to come to. So two things right there. I agree with you. I also disagree with you. I agree with you, and the thing that I've been saying for the last few games is what I want to see instead of Dylan and Patino starting. I want to see a pairing of Patino and Nathan up top because they work together really well in the beginning of the season. Sub them out later in the game if it's not working. Put in Dylan and Ollie Wright at the same positions because they've worked well and they have a pretty good understanding of each other. And then that 4-4 block you have, just keep that a low-lying block. If you need to get those wingers involved in the attack, get them in the attack to get some crosses in. But that's what I want to see. Number 2, exactly what you say. If it frustrated you that Dylan and Patino made the same runs, but they also created a lot of chances making the same runs, they just didn't get put away. The one that just blares in my head is
that header.
Yes, Patino and Dylan make the exact same mirrored run on each side. Patino goes in for a near post run. Both center backs suck into where Patino's going on the near post. It comes all the way over to the back post. It's one-on-one Dylan with the keeper. The keeper slightly out of position. If he puts that either back across the goal to the far post, or if he puts that close to the near post, it's a goal because the keeper's not there to protect the near post, and he completely flubs it and almost puts it in the stands. So
and I think if they score that goal, it's a different game.
It's a completely different game.
It'd be 1-1, but you built confidence
and you have confidence. The ball goes in the net.
And I think the stadium gets more energy because it was a good crowd.
It was.
But you could tell it was an antsy crowd waiting for something to happen. So
it was a powder keg ready to blow like the fireworks. That's a stupid joke, but that's what it was. There was a lot of energy. It was an electric atmosphere. Yes, it was a little over 6,000 people, but it was an electric atmosphere waiting to ignite, and it rained on, no goals, rain on the parade.
So I've got one more question on the bold, and a bold for that here, and then we'll kind of go into where we're at a third of the way in. Leo Torres, he finally got to me some productive minutes. For that here where I thought he had a pretty good shift. Your thoughts, Royce, on Leo subbing in? I think it was the 76th minute for Jose Gallegos.
He needs more minutes. Obviously, he's 17, still a kid, but he needs more minutes to mature. He made his very first run. The first thing I thought was, "Yep, I can tell he's 17" because he blew by everybody directly out of bounds. So that was just a a youthful play where just gets the ball, goes on fire, goes past everybody, forgets to stop and cross the ball. But he also made some really good runs. He made some smart passes, a couple to guys that were waiting there at the edge of the box, where he would come on the outside, go by defenders, kick it back, go right where it needs to be. And once again, guys just didn't put it on frame. But I thought he looked good. I questioned taking Gallegos out for Torres when he did, because Gallegos was, they're bolder down a man. You think, okay, you want your top attackers. But what that did was that brought fresh legs, and it was kind of smart by Marcina, because that speed, we needed that speed, and he brought that speed. Once again, he produced chances. Those chances didn't get converted.
Rafa, your thoughts on Leo?
Yeah, he still needs some work. I mean, he's a work in progress. He's a project. He's 17. This is kind of like the same situation when Gallegos first started. But, for me, Gallegos was just a little more ahead of him as far as more polished. But, he does need the minutes. But my concern is, when he's going to get the minutes, especially right now with the record that we have, unless we blow out a team, and that's when you're going to see him, or we're waving the white flag, and then we're going to see him there. But, I think a lot of people had high hopes for him to see, make a difference. But to me, I think, it was going to take some time for him to kind of get into that rotation. That all depends on what he's doing in practice. My thing is, I think he probably would have been better off, maybe loaned out to a team to get more full-time play.
With COVID though, I
know
that's not a factor right now though for this year really.
Earlier in the season,
I think if there wasn't a factor, I think he probably would have may end up like in North Texas.
No, he won't go to North Texas because they're a 2 team.
Yeah. No.
Okay. Or somewhere else.
They go to Tucson or
right.
Omaha. But yeah,
Detroit City.
They're NISA.
Shout out.
It would be interesting.
Shout out Pato and shout out Maxi.
Pato, shout out for him, MVP of NISA and Maxi. Both of them won the NISA. Well, Detroit City won everything. So
shout out to Todd, the owner.
Todd,
there you go, Kaiser, not a boy.
But this one I want to see him, get some minutes and also. Well, here's another player that. Our local grown player is Ethan Bryant. He's just been MIA.
It's not always. I said this before the season. He was going to struggle to get minutes, and that's what's happened. And what shocks me on that is they tried him out left back, right back. I forget which one. I think it was left back.
It was right back.
It was right back. They tried him out at right back. In preseason, and with all the injuries and everything that we have had here, he still hasn't been able to get time.
Yeah, that's the question mark, and I really wonder what happened there, because that you lack. I mean, that's your depth on as either a wing back or that's your depth as a right back.
That's where we're going to come up to as far as I've got four things that I want to kind of talk about as far as, since we're about a third of the way in the season, because it's 32 games, we've completed 11. At this point, San Antonio is at 2-6-3, which the only time they've had a worse record was the very first year in 2016, where they were 2-4-5 at 10 points. 2019, Pals last year, they were 3-3-5, which they also had 12 points, for that here. So start of the year with expectations. I can tell you, obviously you see social media, fans are not thrilled, we'll say. And Rafa can confirm this. I got up about the 85th minute because I was so frustrated, and I was like, we're not scoring. And I'm like, let me go to the top, and, if AJ can go potty if he needs to. And, I was like, I had to get up because it was just, I was getting angrier and angrier. But I was standing at the top, and you'd hear people walking by, saying this is the worst that they've looked. And I think perception and what they're doing on the field isn't, I think that's kind of clouding people's judgments, because I think people see the talent and the expectations, and obviously San Antonio's not matching that, but it's just a hair off. It's a step off, as I like to say, where they've been unlucky. Hell, New Mexico put out a medical report. Nobody's on the damn list. It's completely empty. And then we had 6 people, including the backup goalkeeper. So it's, you can, sometimes it's luck, and we can we're going to go into, to me, what I think, these are my 4 quote unquote excuses for it here. And we'll kind of go down and break them down here. So
how does the goalie get hurt? The backup goalie get hurt?
Yeah, how does the backup goalie get hurt?
That's how shitty this season has been as far as luck is concerned.
Who's our weight trainer?
Dude, I tell you what, when Matt got plowed over, I was like, oh shit.
Oh no, I immediately turned to you guys and I was like, y'all ready for an academy keeper to come into this thing? Because I think that's what's gonna happen. But luckily, Matt Cardoni is
rosary for that.
Matt Cardoni is a damn hockey player in a hockey jersey, or in a soccer jersey. And that dude's a freaking beast. So shout out to Matt Cardoni for
needs to grow that hockey mullet.
Being a dude, an absolute dude.
Dude, that was when I saw the hit, I was like, oh, dude, he's done. So, number one, the injuries or the excuses that you hear most likely is injuries. And I know we've talked about it all season long.
Real quick. That's not an excuse, dude. It's a reality. That's not an excuse. An excuse is...
Well, you can say reason, excuse, whatever you want to call it. It's a reality. To me, it's the number one factor. Factor of our record here. That's better than
That's
excuse.
Fair. That's fair.
It's a factor. The number one factor is injuries. And like I said here, it's up and down the lineup. I don't know what more we can talk about it. It's Maloney's never played yet a game this season outside of a half against RGV, which why did he play a half?
By the way, your captain last season, Connor Maloney.
Yes.
Think about that.
Number 2, player movement. And by player movement, I'm talking about the players that they brought in during the season. I think some of them have been home runs. Varela, I think has been outstanding. And I don't want to sound like they're here, but Perusa, I kind of question it. If we're saying, hey, we're kind of at max at 25, 20, they're now at 27, but they're academy. But the max was 25. Going and getting that other forward, to me, especially on loan, and like I said here, we got to see if he comes back, especially Toronto had a coaching change and stuff after getting blown out, for that here. To me, I would have rather, they would have went and found some sort of fullback, for that here. So to me, player movement, I think, is a big question for here. So Rafa, Royce, either one of you think that is a valid factor?
Well,
go ahead, Rafa.
I think with Perusa, remember Dylan was out, and we didn't know when Dylan was going to come back. So that was the reason why they signed him. And I think it's good to have depth anyways there. And you do need 4 good forwards. Because remember last year we had 4 good forwards. We had the 3 Argentinians and Pirano. So
here's where I'm going to push back on both of you. And I'm going to use Royce's words. You're going to have Nathan and you're going to have Patino because they're a good fit. Then you're going to have Dylan, which they had to know that he was coming back. It's just a question of when.
It was a muscle injury, and like I've said, you don't know when those things are going to heal.
Yeah, you can never predict those, especially if it's a pull muscle.
Especially if it's a hamstring.
Yeah, That thing.
So then, what's the excuse with Maloney? Because to me, Maloney's a bigger. To me, Maloney is a fullback is a harder position, as we've seen, to be able to fill than a forward.
Yeah.
Well, that's where we need a question about that. If bring in.
And that's why I said I like Cruza. This is nothing against him personally.
But the thing is, we signed too many midfielders. There's some midfielders on the bench.
Yeah.
They're not even playing at all. So I was like, well, especially there's one of them that's on loan that's here. Is like, well, is he going to play or why do we have him here?
Go with me here. Go with me here on thought and how things kind of unraveled with the roster. And you say, yeah, we signed a complete buttload of midfielders. You're absolutely right. I mean, I probably couldn't even count them on my hands just thinking about it. But the main thing that we're talking about is outside wingback / fullback depth. Now let's go through our depth and what has happened to those players, and I'll show you just how many players we have as depth that just hasn't turned out. So obviously the starters in a perfect world would be Maloney and Gleedle. Those are your two. Those are your two Ironmen, if you will. Maloney's been hurt the whole season. He's out. Okay, that's fine. Now, you would prefer to have PC in the middle as a midfielder, but hey, in a pinch, he can play left back perfectly well, and he did so really well. Created a couple goals this season. He's hurt. He's been hurt for most of the season. So there's PC and Maloney right there. Darn. Okay. Then who do you have as a backup? Then the preferred backup is, we could just luckily Sam Gleedle is a goddamn Swiss Army knife, so he can go out wide and he can play wherever the hell he can go on the right side if he needs to. Cool. Do we have somebody that could play left back? We have Chris Lima, who's all freaking league as a central midfielder. He could also play left back or left winger really well. Cool. What happened to him? Oh, he's been hurt the last couple games. Shit. So now what do you have? Okay. In a pinch, we have DePlane. DePlane is a center back. He's kind of an older center back, but he can play out wide, but don't expect him to get forward too much. Cool. He can't play as a wing back like Marcina probably would prefer to play in that 3-4-3. You can't play that anymore. Your hand is forced, and you have to play a 4-4-2. That's fine. You could put DePlane back there. DePlane's been hurt for a few games. Okay, so what happens then? We got to put Doyle as a left back, and you have Gleedle as a right back and try to have Gleedle attack. That didn't really work too well. Oh, what if that goes wrong and Gleedle gets hurt? Oh, then you have to put Lindley out wide, and you have to put Cuello as. That's how this season has gone. None of that is scenario. All of that has happened. I just went through 6 or 7 layers of, what if this guy gets hurt? What do we do? That is how this season has gone.
And for Marcina, Kamiri too.
Yeah, and that's fullback being hurt. I'm just talking about outside wing depth. Too. I'm just talking about outside wing depth. I'm not talking about the injuries to our center backs. I'm not talking about injuries to our forwards because Dylan was hurt most of the season. That's how this season has gone. That is what I will say. That is what I will tell anybody that wants to say hashtag Marcina out, which is garbage. Marcina has managed this team so well that we have that many injuries and we have that many backup plans, and we still create the second most chances out of any team in our division. We should be either in second place or on top of this division running away. It just hasn't gone that way because of injuries, and we can't put a goddamn ball in the net. It's not Marcina's fault, guys. It's not.
So number 3 is Marcina, which you know obviously Royce has already staked his claim on that one here as the president of the Marcina fan club, and I love Marcina. And I
president and CEO, calm down.
I'm not quite there, but I do think his seat's going to get warmer, and part of that is because he was part of the PAL system, and the fans at that time I think were wanting.
Real quick. Well, Marcina was brought in 2019 to sit on that assistant coach's chair for Tim Holt. To tell, hey, that guy's your replacement. Show us some results. That's why Marcin. That's why you say Marcino was a Pal general.
He was part of that staff. I know
Okay.
what you're saying. I
Okay.
know what you're saying, and I'm not disagreeing with the hire.
But Rafa, you can agree with me on this. When you're an assistant coach, it is not your vision. You do your damnedest to implement the vision of the head coach. Nothing is yours. It's the head coach's ideas that get implemented. Correct?
Yeah, well, yeah, because you're basically, like I said, I've been an assistant varsity coach, and I'm basically his other set of eyes.
Correct.
But now, working relationship, if he allows you to have some influence, and in my case,
we know he did.
In my case,
yes, we do know he did. I know for a fact that he did.
Okay. Like I said, I'll give you an example. Like in my case, when I was in, like I said, in Del Rio with, my head coach was George Wedding, and he basically entrusted me a lot with the training, getting them with the practices and so on and so forth. But I was his eyes. But if I saw something that needed to be changed during the game, I was empowered to that. So it's all going to depend on the staff. If the head coach is flexible, if he's more if he says something, okay, I'll let him change it. Or if he's going to be a total authoritarian and just like it's my way or the highway. So I know, like I said, it's staffs are going to be. It's going to.
And it varies. I'll give you that. It varies, but it normally doesn't happen in the very first season. An assistant coach is brought on. They're just.
But this is something we also brought up to last year. I know we talked about it, and I know even Scott talked about it too. When we're looking for a new head coach, there were some really good prospects that we could have brought in, especially Connor.
Connor, Ian Russell out of Reno was rumored.
I don't disagree. I'm not talking. I'm not going back to the hiring process before 2020.
I'm just saying that what if they did bring those in? Would things be different? If there was injuries, we'd probably be in the same situation, So, but the thing is, I think the fans are like, okay, they feel like, well, we brought him back because he won the championship in 2014. 2014 with the Scorpions. Maybe we're gonna get the deja vu again, which for me, I wasn't confident about that.
It wasn't just that. It was also what he had done with the Menace and how well the Menace had played. Let's not talk about Raya OKC, but it was about what he did with the Iowa. With the Des Moines Menace.
But the Rao situation is more the ownership. They stunk it up.
Correct. I mean, the owner took half the field turf so they couldn't play a game. Like that's not on Marcina. Although that team was really good, and it was because the players they had, it was volatile. That whole organization was doomed to fail because there was no organization.
Yeah.
But real quick, let's all go back to 2020. Let's go back to last season, and let's talk about the two huge differences between the 2020 team and the 2021 San Antonio FC team. Well, I guess three differences because
we're going to get to that because I think that's my number 4.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay.
No, you go ahead and introduce it.
Just real quick. The number one thing is obviously results. San Antonio FC had much better results last season compared.
But we were in a weaker division.
We're in a weaker division, but we're also putting the ball in the net.
Yes.
Stolinak finished. Dorenzo finished. Nacho Bailone from freaking half field finished. That's the big thing. That's the huge difference. The third big difference, injuries. How many injuries did we have last season?
Well, the one that really knocked us out of the playoffs was Haravel really kind of changed things. Yeah,
that's correct. That was the big injury. Yep.
That was the big injury there, and we never replaced that.
Correct. And how did we change our tactics in this past offseason to absolve that? We got a shit ton of midfielders, and that's how we're justifying that, which is fine because you don't know how many injuries you're going to have. There could be one injury that can change your entire season. Do I have to go through the whole thing again where PC's hurt, where Maloney's hurt? You got to change that.
No,
that whole layers.
How we're gonna stop that the Marcina out at this point is American Soccer Analysts. If you go to if you go to their website, americasocceranalyst.com, put it
Analysis,
through here. They and it's more analytics. This is more Royce's cup of tea for it here. They ran the 11 games here. The home X points and the away X points is the key factors, because that's if they play this game 1,000 times based on how it was played. SAFC typically would have won 6, lost 4. Couple of surprises in there that you wouldn't normally think, based on the results and stuff like that. So this goes into Royce's main point that it's not Marcina. It's not. It's not the formation. It's
it's conversion. It's chances
converting.
taken.
It's being unlucky, and it's being and that's really what it is. SAFC has been kind of snake bitten. The RGV, got a freaking bike right at the death to win it. That doesn't, that guy
to draw it.
Probably
Wasn't even a win. That was a draw.
To draw, but took away the 3 points from us. But took away 3 points from us, and that's why I say it feels like a loss.
Yeah. Fair.
I bet you that guy couldn't. Well, he's very good, but if he did it 100 times, I bet you he's not going to convert
in a match in that same situation. Yeah, he finishes that maybe 5 times out of 100. Exactly. Yeah, that is such a low percentage chance. And to his credit, he took it well and he put it in the net. Now, real quick, according to stats and according to the law of averages and what quote unquote should have happened according to the numbers, which I'm a numbers person, we should have 19 points. Where does 19 points put us in the table?
Right now, second. You'll be up near the top because RGV
puts us first. RGV has 18, but they would be lower because we should have won 1 or 2 of those games against RGV. So we should be number 1 in the division. Everybody's happy. Everybody's sitting pretty, but we don't convert those chances. We have all the injuries in the damn world. Things are different, but have hope. We're only a third through the season. We have another 2/3 left. Rumor has it that Connor Maloney and PC are very close to returning, which would be huge. And if that does happen and we get hot in the last half of the season, I'm not even saying we're going to get it together in the next couple games, but if we go into the second half of the season hot and we find our form and we finally go into the playoffs hot, SAFC has never gone to the playoffs. The 3 times we've gone to the playoffs, we've never gone into the postseason hot. The last time a San Antonio soccer team has gone into the postseason hot, they won the whole damn thing in 2014. And who was the coach?
That would be Mr. Marcina.
Thank you.
And to me, like I said here, I know I posted this sign to see who is out there, asking for a friend, because I do think I think that discussion has more weight now.
I get it. I get it.
But I don't believe
if you don't pay attention to what has happened to the team and you don't pay attention to the stats and the numbers, the results look like shit. They don't look good, and people are going to talk. And I get that. But honestly, all that matters is winning. That's all that matters. Well, that's all people want to see. Nobody cares how you do.
Here's another point I want to make, and this is something I think Harry discussed before the show.
Yep.
Harry looked at other teams. We something with San Antonio FC. We always change players every year, like a big bulk of players.
Mm-hmm.
Fair.
This is my number 4.
And like I said, just bringing that in is when is the front office going to realize if you're going to build a championship team, you need to keep at least 8 to 9 to 10 up
you
to
need a
13 core players, because I think I can give some leeway to Marcina, because basically he was starting over because we lost all our forwards. We have brand new forwards.
Yeah,
we had the little same situation last year because they weren't scoring in the beginning until they started getting hot.
Right. I will say real quick, 3 of those guys left on their own volition, and I'm sure they were offered contracts back. Bailone's playing in Slovenia because he got offered a shit ton of money. Dorenzo had a foot injury that he's still recovering from, that he had surgery back in Argentina, and Solniak went by himself to Chile to go play, and then came back to El Paso.
And going to El Paso.
Yeah, for who knows. So yeah.
But so to me, my number 4 is it's time for Spurs Sports and Entertainment to get a scouting director or a GM. And
Well,
to me,
you mean we have a GM? I think what you mean.
who?
Tim Holt. Tim Holt's a GM.
You sure?
Yes. What I think you mean is, God dang.
Tim Holt runs the organization.
A director.
Tim Holt runs the entire soccer organization.
Okay.
He is the VP. He is the director of San Antonio soccer.
Right.
So to me, he's up there. To me, I know right now how the makeup has been. It's been Tim Holt, Powell, Tim Holt, Marcina.
Right.
But to me, I think in order to be able to, and it maybe just be an organization directive, that may be how the Spurs want to run this. But
the Spurs do have a GM.
Well, on the basketball, it's a little bit different basketball. But I think if you're gonna take this team, if you really, because they're investing the money, they are investing the money. If you go to the transfer market, I know I mispronounced that. Transfer mock. According to them, San Antonio has the highest, average value. So that tells me they're paying money. They're paying people to come here. Yep. The talent's coming here. Yep. The issue is being able to keep it on a year-to-year basis. And this is just last year, and you can't really do 2019 to 2020 because it was a changing coach.
Correct.
We know there was a split locker room. We've heard that from players directly at that time.
Oh yeah.
San Antonio kept 8 players. Doyle was 1, played 1 game. Bryant came back real late. Torres, Mercado, 2 young guys. So 4 starters they kept: PC, Cardone, Maloney, and Jose.
2 captains out of there, though. Two captains.
But both hurt. Okay, and I'm not discounting you. Rising kept 9. So you're saying, okay, hey, 8 to 9, not a big deal. But it's Dadishval, Calistri, Moore, Vaquero, Lambert, Darnell King, former San Antonio FC, Farrell, Lubin, Asante. El Paso kept 13. Rowdies brought back their entire starting 11. They brought back 15. San Diego Loyal brought back 11. New Mexico United, they also were kind of a little bit thin. Sandoval, Bruce, Marino, Guzman, Teneri, Sam Hamilton, Yearwood, Schmidt, Suggs, Ryden. Lou City brought back 16. So if you're talking about teams that are showing that from year in to year out, that shows you get that core. And San Antonio FC throughout this is year 6, has never really had a solid core that they bring back. Now, we were trying to go through, teams that have been helped or players that have been brought back multiple years. Obviously, Rafa, obviously Cardona, Cochran,
Cesar,
Guzman was 2 years, 3 years for that. So the problem is I think they need to bring back. They're having too much turnover, and I understand part of it's the youth. They want to try to highlight the youth,
right?
But USL Championship, and I think this is where you're seeing here. Outside of a team like Pittsburgh Riverhounds, that they've got a Hall of Fame coach and Bob Lilly, that he has a system. The players comes in for that here, which I love Marcina, but he's not a Hall of Fame coach like Bob Lilly is.
Not yet. And he's like 41. Not yet. Come on.
But to me, that's my fourth reason, and I think it's outside of the injuries. I think that's the biggest reason, because you're not and Rafa,
you're not able to establish that culture. You're not able to establish that culture. 100%. No, I 100% agree with that. And that's a thing that kind of baffled me. Kind of the entire.
That's a big mistake on their part, because I'm gonna be straight with you. When I first started coaching club soccer with Club America, and then when I got to the end, 5 of those Club America kids that started at U10 stayed with me all the way to U18. Yeah. But those 5 were my core players that I depended on. Yep. And they were the heart of the team. Even though I added new pieces, they were just complementing that core. And I think
Yep.
that's what San Antonio FC needs to do is build up a core of players and retain them, and
Yeah.
then add some little pieces here and there to complement that core. And you will see, and then eventually the results. So then I know with the injuries and stuff, still I think having a core, I had 1 year, having 1 year, I had my top goalkeeper. He was 6'3". He was out for pretty much 3/4 of our season. But my backup keeper that I brought, he was my former starter from my other team. I trusted in him, and he did a hell of a job. But that's what the core players bring you is the confidence. You don't have to like, if I put him, I'm gonna hope he does well. Having those core players, is gonna make your team a lot better, and also go through the challenges of the injuries and so forth. I think that's what they need to start doing from here on out. I bet you we're going through this pain right now with the injuries. If we keep this team together for next year, we will be the dominant team. We will challenge Phoenix.
Yeah.
And we will challenge Tampa, and we will challenge Louisville. I mean, if we can beat Birmingham, who's on top of the group, with that group right there, even when we're shorthanded, if we can keep this core for the next year, we're gonna, we can win the championship. But they need to do that.
Agree. But you got to bring back players. You got to set that culture, and that's a big thing. And what really gave me hope whenever they signed Marcina was his big thing when he came in was culture. We got to establish a winning culture. How do you establish a culture? You bring back the same players to keep that alive, to get that, to intersperse that with the other players. You have to set that. In order to set that, you got to have players that come back. Did we have players that came back? Yes. Are they core players? Absolutely. Were there enough of them? Maybe not. Are most of them hurt? Yes. And that's kind of the big issue right there. But like I said, there are 3 big forwards. Our 3 main goal scorers last season actually 4 main goal scorers last season did not come back, and it's not Spurs Sports Entertainment's fault. And like I said, that was Dorenzo, foot injury. He had surgery, still recovering. Bailone got a pretty big contract in Slovenia. He's playing over there. Solniak went to Chile, and Pirano went on a free to PDF. I'm not even going to try to pronounce that team name.
But here's the thing: were they signed for just 1 year?
That's a good question.
Well, obviously they are. If they're walking.
That's what it sounds like. Yeah. We need to stop doing this 1 year contract crap.
Start offering multi. Yeah.
They need to do 2 to 3 year.
Yeah.
That's what they really need to do, because that way you build that culture. It allows Marcina to build that culture, but also have some consistency on there. And then, eventually, like I said, if the opportunity's there, they're going to sell maybe like Jose. But out of that, you still have the culture. So you can add a piece that can replace that. Or you bring up another youngster from the academy that's going to replace that. That needs to be established by sports, by the GM, by the upper management, because they're not doing that. The 1 year contract's not going to help. You're just hitting the restart button every year. And I think that's why everyone's getting frustrated. Let's just keep a core group, sign them for 2 year contracts to 3 like the other teams, and we'll see. And let's see who can win the championship with that second or third year. Yeah. And that's what needs to be done.
James Hope brings up an interesting point that maybe the players don't want a multi-year deal.
And if they don't want, we get somebody else.
But here's where I kind of question that. Is it that they don't want one here? Because it seems like they're signing multi-year deals in Phoenix and in other places. Tampa, they are signing multi-year deals. It's just a question of how. But to me, there's 2 aspects which both of you didn't hit on, which I think is just as pivotal to this discussion that we're having. If you have a GM or a scouting director that's in charge of player movement, the Marcina out isn't as high, because the perception is it's Marcina that's bringing in the players right now. This is Marcina's team. This is what he wants. This is what it is. If you have that buffer between Holt and Marcina,
but most people aren't going to know that.
They will.
I mean, look at Arsenal. I mean, this is a top world team in Arsenal. Arsene Wenger got all the blame, even though it was ownership that would not bring in the players that he wanted, and they brought in other players. And yet Arsene Wenger was the one fired, and look at them now with Arteta, who is just kind of not being
that's
great.
when it
But
comes into the coaches need to step up and say something. And if they're not going to bring in the players you want, then it's not. Then you need to get the step in and go somewhere else. But this is not we're not in that. If they're going to give full confidence to Marcina to do that, and then bring in like a staff, some people that's going to help them build, because we don't have a tech director to work on
technical director. We don't have that.
We don't have that, and you need that. And especially like I said, working with Club America, that was a hierarchy with the manager of the first team, with the technical director helping all the practices, and then you had your scout team always going and finding talent, and then that whatever was brought in, the coaches had the final say. They'll look at, okay, I do like him, let's sign him, or let's put him in the academy, or so forth. You have to have that hierarchy to help one another, and that alleviates too many, for them, for Marcina to do too much. And that way he can concentrate on what he needs to do as far as management of that team.
Two things real quick. Number one, if you remember the hiring process when they were looking into a coach, a big part of it was you were going to be head coach and you're going to be technical director. So that going into it, Spurs Sports Entertainment established that it was a combined. Number two, like I said, and I'll tell it to you, we'll tell them blue in the face if we want to bring up that XG graphic again. Marcina, even despite all the injuries, has still put these players in the best position to score and to win. They just haven't converted yet. They haven't converted. They should be 6-4-1 according to math.
Right.
Soccer's not played in math. I get that, but
it's more than 2 wins. Realistically, this team should have more than 2 wins.
Yeah.
You could argue a game, game or two. Either direction.
Some of those 4 of those ties should have been wins.
Yeah,
and they were against inferior teams.
I wouldn't say that. RGV is a talented team, so
RGV has a good goalkeeper and a good coach.
No, I'm talking about like Las Vegas. I'm talking about the Switchbacks, and I'm talking about
you got Switchbacks are a good team. I don't know if you've been watching them, but early
on,
Haji Berry,
they're coming out of
11 goals.
Haji Berry's connecting a lot better with that midfield.
Yeah. They are doing what we are not doing and being able to convert.
Yeah, that's it.
It's as simple as that.
That's it.
It's not even the red cards, Robert. It's not. It's I'm not going to say Patino's 3 games. Yeah, that was a little bit.
That hurt.
That stung. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But
as did Nathan's. Yeah.
But it's to me, if you look at the results, the depth is there. Like I said, I would have rather them got a fullback than Perusa, but Perusa had a pivotal goal coming in, so he
like
paid
you
off.
said, Dylan. On paper, we have a lot of depth out wide. The problem is that depth has thinned out due to injury, and we are 4 deep in the outside back depth chart because of injury.
Then brings us up to this last subject here. The 2 friendlies.
Yeah. Yeah.
I understand playing 1.
Yep.
Play 1.
Yep.
2.
Yep.
So if you're playing 2, you better not be playing the starters a lot. There better be a lot of rotation.
Yeah.
I know you want to put a good product on the pitch.
Yep.
But
yep. Especially tomorrow's match. Tomorrow's match, the midfield.
At least we're not playing Cruz Azul, so we're playing one of the weaker teams of Liga MX.
Tomorrow's match Ethan Bryant needs some
Leo Torres.
Leo needs some minutes. Ethan Bryant, Shandon Hoppiow, those guys need some minutes for sure. Up top, Perusa needs some minutes to get connected with those guys.
Well, he's been hurt.
You're probably he wasn't on the injury list, the last injury list, but he did not make the 18.
Kimari, he needs to get back in game shape because I know he was on the bench Saturday.
I don't want the Terminator, dude. Put the Terminator in bubble wrap, dude. We need that guy, but
I mean, I would put him in give him some minutes just to kind of get his feet wet.
That's fair. That's
so
fair.
Rafa, you need to kind of set the table of who SAFC is facing because
Yeah, I don't know who.
I don't
Get the
I'll look at the standings of Liga
Whatever.
MX and go, hey, that's nice. Club America, Pumas, which I guess we're playing, but they don't go by Pumas.
UANL,
UNAL, something along those lines. So
University.
So-
It's UNAM. Oh, that's right. Tigres it has the L, and Pumas has the
there's a
N.
Universidad Autónoma. Tigres is Universidad Autónoma de Nuevo León, and then
You know what's
Pumas,
cool? In English, please. So it's the University of what?
It's a University of the Autonomy of Nuevo León.
Okay.
New Lion.
Gotcha.
New Lion. And then
Right.
Pumas
Nuevo León is the state, the province. Is it a state or a province in Mexico?
it's the state, Nuevo León. That's where Monterrey, yeah.
Right.
Pumas is the Universidad Nacional Autónoma de Mexico, which is the University.
That's right.
National.
That's right. They're one of the 10,000 professional soccer teams in Mexico City. I forgot about.
And they have a really good football. They have a good football team too. So for collegiate.
Yeah. No, they had what's his name? Jonathan Gonzalez, who was supposed to be American, but turned his back on our God-loved country and decided to play for Mexico. So, yeah, that guy. And then, I mean, who else is in Mexico City? You got Pumas, you got Cruz Azul, you have
Necaxa,
America, you have Necaxa, you have not Atlas.
Necaxa might be moving out.
Atlas is in Guadalajara, right?
With Chivas.
With the goats, yeah.
So tomorrow we're facing who?
Those Los Gallos Blancos.
Team.
I'm not even going to pronounce it because that
Los Gallos Blancos de Querétaro.
Yeah, so
the white roosters.
Any idea? I think you mentioned that they're one of
they're like a middle
teams.
They're like a middle of the table team or towards the bottom, depending on the season. I do remember a former Man U player, what's his name, Valencia, I think was playing with them a couple years ago. Antonio Valencia used to play, and Ronaldinho actually played for them too. Gaucho. So he played for Querétaro.
That was Ronaldinho's retirement tour. That's awesome.
Yeah, it was his retirement tour for that season.
That.
But they're a decent team, but they actually have a really nice jersey. They're striped jersey. So I don't know if we're wearing white tomorrow or we're gonna wear black, but their kit, they have like a kind of like a navy blue and black kit with black shorts. Kind of look a little bit like Inter Milan, but there's like a more aqua. Their makers, the Charlie Soccer brand. They finished 12th last year out of the 18 teams. So
18, yeah.
They're, like I said, they're kind of the lower middle of the pack team. So it should be an interesting game.
So they're like the Houston Dynamo of the MLS, where they'll bring like one or two big name players, but they're kind of not great.
Or the Austin FC. You can do that too, but
no, not
worth names that they have. We'll have Joe Colorado, who says
just looking at their roster.
Jonathan Dos Santos.
They have Joe Gallardo. Like I said, they have him.
I know that name.
They also
Jonathan
have
Dos Santos.
Yeah, but he's from Uruguay.
Remember, so he's not going to be there because of
no, Jonah.
They got eliminated, right? That's right. We got to finish up on the.
Oh, it's a different Jonathan Dos Santos.
No, Jonathan Dos Santos plays for Galaxy.
The Dos Santos. Oh, okay. Well, is he still really? So there's the Dos Santos brothers. That's
no, this is from Uruguay.
And they're from Mexico. There's a different Dos Santos, another Jonah Dos Santos.
Yeah, Jonah and
that's
Giovanni.
Baffling.
They're half Mexican and half Brazilian.
Dude, they carry 6 goaltenders according to FOTMob.
Yeah.
Well, we carry 4 now, so
2 of them are academy. I think if I'm SAFC, you better sign a third goalkeeper with some experience. But it should be a good game. You know, it's like I said, these are games for them to get ready for, because Liga MX starts in, I think, about 2 weeks.
The 22nd, yeah.
Yeah, 22nd. So this is a game for them to see what they have, because like I said, I do see they have a lot of new signings on the roster. So that should be a good game. And then Friday's game against Pumas, Unam, that's going to be a little tougher game for them. Like I said, Pumas has history. Hugo Sanchez has played for Pumas. It's one of the new rivals.
Goalkeepers,
right?
Yeah, it's one of the new rivals for Club America. It's called, that's like their third rivalry game besides Chivas and also Cruz Azul.
So that Sebastian Salcedo plays for them.
Yeah, they finished. Actually, Pumas didn't have a really good season. They finished 15th in the league, because the previous one they actually did they made the Liguilla, but this year they didn't. Just some notables: goalkeeper Talavera, who's actually right now with the Mexican national team for the Gold Cup, so you're not getting to see him. We do have an American, Sebastian Salcedo, is on there on the squad,
formerly of Real Monarchs and Real Salt Lake. Yeah,
he's also in the. Is he still in discussion for the U.S. men's national team? I haven't listened to Scuff's podcast here recently to see where he's at, but
I don't think so.
He's fell out of favor.
Yeah, and then like I said, you have other players like Juan Ignacio Dinero is one of their star forwards he's from Argentina, so you can look out for him. They got a couple Argentinas, a couple Brazilians, but it's a mostly Mexican-dominated team as far as homegrown players. But that should be a fun game. We'll see. So we'll see. Hopefully, what the turnout is. But hopefully, I can make my sign for the Pumas game. I have that one thing. Have you ever seen that little meme with a little boy crying when Pumas lost the championship? And they're making fun of him. So hopefully, I can make that sign for that game for Friday night. So,
what kind of environment? I've never been to a Liga MX game. Here at Toyota Field, because AJ's been a little bit younger, but now that he'll be 13, I'm gonna educate him to international soccer now for that here. So, thoughts on what it's like, or how different will it be from a normal SAFC game day? Because from my understanding, it's a completely different environment.
It's a little faster pace, and then you're gonna see a lot of ball possession. A lot of Liga MX teams really rely on that, but it's also going to be very physical, and that's something they talk about. Liga MX, it's a very physical league. They're not going to give you like a little bump. They're going to let you know that they're there, and they're going to try to intimidate you. So I know SAFC is going to play, kind of buck up a little bit, but hey, it's a good experience playing some of these some teams that have had a lot of history, being, they've won championships and so forth. They've been in Liguillas, or they played in, down in the South American Cups. So, it's going to be good for them, and the fans they're going to see some exciting soccer. I'm going to tell you that, just Liga MX. I know some people are starting to get into it a little bit more. Like I said, I enjoy it because, like I said, it's a real fast-paced, physical league. Like one game I'm looking forward to is this Saturday's Club America versus Tigres game. So you have the former coach from America versus the new coach, the Solari versus Piojo. So
that's
at the Alamo Dome.
Yeah, Alamo Dome.
So that's
I wish I could go to that. I don't think I'm going to be able to, because it's my nephew's birthday party in Austin. But if for some reason I am able to go to that, I want to just go see
Austin FC match, Royce. You can just admit to it, man.
We're going to Chuck E. Cheese. I want to see, which, I mean, that's kind of the same thing, isn't it? But I want to see Piojo do Piojo things on the sidelines in the Alamo Dome. That would be amazing.
Yeah, then you're going to see, actually, Club America played last night against who was Santos over there at Rio Tinto. That game was sold out, and you just saw basically
it was a different atmosphere. Yeah,
it was 3/4 of the stadium were all Club America fans.
Yeah.
So, and I'm surprised that that maybe San Antonio FC didn't schedule them. I think that's the game they need to schedule And
I
that
think
would
the reason
really,
they didn't schedule it is because the stadium's too small.
well, they can move them over to the Alamo. They can play at the Alamo Dome. You know,
that would be awesome. I mean, don't get
That'd
me
be kind
wrong.
of cool to see
SAFC in the Alamo
SAFC.
Dome
And
would be
see
great.
that'd be
what they,
awesome.
you know, honestly about, you know, and when they talk about having these international games, I think what they should have done is played both games. You know, like maybe instead of playing a second game, you know, against Querétaro or either Pumas, but they should have had maybe like SAFC versus Pumas in the first game at the Alamo Dome, and then an hour later you watch the Club America Tigres game. So
Right.
you have two games for one. I
But
think that really would have.
that would have
you
brought
always
more
have-
people, but at the same time, you don't sell as many concessions, you don't sell as many tickets in general. You kind of shoot yourself in the foot. That would be cool for a fan standpoint, but for money
If they,
making,
I mean,
don't
I'm
think
sure
that
they
works.
can cut a deal that they get a percentage of it. You know, if SAFC can get a little percentage of it, but
Right.
to me, if you want to kind of bring, you know, show your, especially like the SAFC game, you want to show your product. You know, have them play the first game there at the Alamo Dome, and then
Right.
they'll say, hey, you know what? And then even have your marketing people, hey, come out to our games and so forth. Here's some like, flyers and stuff. So you get to see two great games, and hopefully eventually you build up the ones that normally watch Liga MX games that don't go to Toyota Field. Now it's like, hey, you know what? We have a local soccer team that we can go support. So that's how you can kind of build like a bigger fan base.
Can I whisper something that SAFC would have to do then? They'd have to market to the south side of town, which they don't do.
Yeah.
Well, it's like
which
today,
is a tragedy.
Like you know, I went today. I got my brand new Club America jersey. You know, most of the jerseys down there that they have there, the Soccer Factory in Fredericksburg, are Liga MX jerseys. You know, the majority of them. That's what they cater to.
By far, the most popular league in the United States.
In the United States is,
and obviously the most popular soccer. Well, no, the most popular soccer league in San Antonio, not just the United States, but also San Antonio, is Liga MX. I mean, that's simple. That is a no-brainer. And honestly, if San Antonio were to get a waiver from FIFA to get a Liga MX team in San Antonio, shit would be hotcakes. That would
every game would be a sellout.
It would be a sellout in the damn Alamo Dome. Every game, 65,000 seats would get sold so easily.
Every game would be a sellout.
A lot of Mexican expats would go. A lot of Mexican internationals would go. A lot of Americans would go. Just that would be the ticket, and people would go, and that would just would be so much more popular.
And here's another thing about this: a lot of those former Liga MX players that are retiring, they're actually moving to San Antonio.
Yeah.
Like I'll give you one example. I got to meet Pared Borghetti from Santos.
Oh, nice.
It was a couple years ago, so I got to meet him and his family. It was like a little get together near where Anchor Bar is at.
Right.
You know, and he was talking about bringing, you know, maybe a Santos Academy to San Antonio. There was another rumor that Rafa Marquez was going to try to move over here to start an Atlas Academy.
Was that before or after his FBI investigation? Anyway, real quick.
But then you have also
one thing that I do remember before, I think this is even before the Scorpions were a thing, was that there was I don't know what it benefited. I think it benefited Morgan's Wonderland because it was over there in the Star Soccer Complex, but they had the Trinity boys soccer team play a bunch of former Mexican international stars. So I got to meet a lot of players that I grew up watching in the World Cup play for Mexico, like El Matador, Luis Hernandez, Jorge Campos. I saw him play and watched him and shook his hand and got his autograph, and a whole bunch of guys that I couldn't even list off right now. But the presence of Mexican soccer and the presence of soccer in general in San Antonio, it's boundless. And if you market to the right people, it's that sky's the limit there. Anyway, I think we've overrun ourselves by time.
But we have to touch on it because we've touched on it the last few. Copa America, Brazil was in the final. Argentina, Colombia tomorrow. Rafa, Argentina going to get the job done?
I think they squeak by. I think they squeak by in, but don't count out Colombia because they did have a good game against Brazil, which they should have won, but they let that one go with Casemiro, and then also the ref kind of screwed up that first goal, but
no way, Brazil got the benefit of the doubt on a really terrible call.
Which should have been a dead ball, but that's gonna. I mean, you gotta have. I mean, Colombia had confidence beating Uruguay, which they have really two good forwards, which are Cavani and Suarez.
Yeah.
So if they can mark down on, on Messi and kind of keep him limited from his touches, they have a shot to get to the final.
That's kind of the beauty of Argentina is you have Lautaro and you have whatever other forward that Argentina is going to have because they have a million of them. They're going to be up top and Messi's going to be tucked in beneath. Mm-hmm. So Messi's still dangerous even if you mark those two. So you got to have at least 3 or 4 players dedicated to that little area around zone 14 and zone 18, 17 because you got to have at least 4 players there if you're Colombia. So it's going to be tough for them.
Then what they're dangerous as is the free kicks.
Yeah.
I mean, Messi you cannot give him any free kicks on the 18,
Messi magic.
But as far as the final, I just don't see Argentina beating Brazil. I think Brazil's got too much firepower. They're just on it. I think
Neymar is Jesus back from his karate kick, or did he get multiple?
Yeah, he'll be back from his karate kick. So. Like I said, if you notice, Neymar he hadn't done it with PSG, but something with Brazil, he does bring up his game. So it'll be a close game, but I think Brazil's gonna take the Copa America.
The Euros kicks off tomorrow. Quarterfinals, right? Quarterfinals, quarterfinals.
Breaking news! It's not coming home.
Yes, it is. Italy, Spain.
The 2 hottest teams.
Yeah.
Or 2 of the 3 hottest teams.
It's going to be Italy, and then Italy's going to take the whole thing. That's how it's going to go. Even though they lost, I don't want to call him Spinderella. God dang it. That for some reason, that's what came to mind. Spindrella, isn't that his name? Even though they lost him to an unfortunate Achilles injury, he was one of their best players. They're going to slot in. They're going to put back. I can look at his face. Verratti.
Someone with Elini or Cellini or whatever.
Whatever. No, Verratti. They're gonna put Verratti back, and they're gonna put starts with the B. God, I can see their faces. I just can't think of their names right now. The midfield is fine for Italy because they've had 5 guys that needed to start, and they can only play 3 at a time in that 4-3-3. So, Italy's fine. Italy's gonna go all the way. Spain, their keeper's been suspect. Their back line has been suspect. Their forwards have been suspect. They're just a suspect team. I don't think they can get it done. They just have been so inconsistent.
I don't trust Spain's goalkeeper.
No, they've just been so inconsistent.
Other side, Denmark, which is everyone's favorite except for mine.
It's going to be Denmark and Italy in the final, and Italy's going to take it. That's how
you think they ride that emotion all the way through from Eriksen?
It's not just emotion, dude. Eriksen, yes, they lost Eriksen, but what they gained by not having one central player is now they have Højbjerg and they have I can't think of names right now. It's late. I need to go to sleep, but it's instead of having that single pivot of Eriksen as their 10 to be the player creator, they have 2 guys there, and they have spread across those responsibilities, and that's why they've been so damn successful. Is a team will go and press one guy, well, you just left that whole side open, and that's why they've been so successful. They've been great. That whole team has been great. Yes, I mean I'm so happy Eriksen's healthy and he got the automatic defibrillator installed. Maybe he comes back, maybe he doesn't. The fact is he's alive. That's the most important thing. But that team has been great, even though because they don't have one central guy that can keep up.
Rafa, your thoughts on England, Denmark?
I think England finally chokes.
I'd say I don't even think it's a choke. I think England has.
But they're playing at home. They're playing at home.
They're playing at Wembley.
Yeah,
playing at Wembley,
the historic stadium where they have choked the most.
Yeah, I think
They don't.
I
they're
think they
not
got.
gonna get it
I
done.
think they've got away with not playing really, not so many strong teams. I think Denmark has the
That's
benefit
it.
of
That's it.
knocking out some strong teams.
So real quick with England and Wembley, kind of this is what's going to happen. I'm going to be your soothsayer. Is something wrong is going to happen in that match? Kind of late. It's going to be kind of nullified. I don't think anybody scores early like the last game because Slovakia is just not a great team. I'm sorry, Ukraine is just not a great team. It's going to be kind of 0-0, kind of going late. Because they're in England, the English fans are going to get super nervous. Something's going to go wrong. Either Raheem Sterling shoots one wide or Harry Kane heads one wide. The crowd is going to get really angsty. They're going to get very angry. Denmark is going to put one in, and instead of getting the energy up to try to get behind the team, they start shitting on themselves, and England ended up losing 1-0. That's my call.
I think you're wrong. I think England wins convincingly.
Okay. I've only been watching England fail since like '96, so
I'm not saying you're wrong, but I'm saying I think this England team's a little bit different. The makeup of it, and
fair.
Could they lose tomorrow? Sure.
They actually listened
typical
to
English fashion. Yes.
Gareth Southgate actually listened to English fans, and he brought hometown. God dang, Aston Villa. Supposed to Jack Grealish. Jack Grealish. They actually brought him, and he's been really good for them late in games. So yeah, I mean, there could be something different to where they don't do the same thing over and over again that they've.
To me, I think it'll be Italy, England, and then I would favor Italy to win the title. But
I think the one big factor is if Denmark can play the kind of the same way. Well, the one thing they need to look at is the game against when Scotland played England. Scotland frustrated the hell out of England.
That's what you have to do.
And if they
That's
can take
what I mean. If you frustrate that team and you frustrate that crowd, you are on top.
That crowd was booing. And then, like I said, that's a rivalry.
Here's where I think it gets a little bit different. They got over Germany, which England had not been able to get over Germany before, at least in recent years. And I know this isn't the best German team. It's not. No. But to be able to finally get across that lump and win convincingly 2-0, I think that does. The other factor is nobody scored on England yet. You guys keep talking about the offensive side. Nobody's been able to get past them at this point. Now, I'm not saying that Denmark can't score them or especially Italy can't score them because they can. But at this point, so far, nobody's been able to do it.
So what you're saying is the first team that is going to score against them is going to eliminate them because it's going to get in their head. That's exactly what you're saying. Thank you for proving my point.
If Denmark scores first, England's in trouble.
Yep. But if England scores,
if England scores, I can see. But I wouldn't count out Denmark just yet because they've come back.
I'm not counting them out.
Breaking news. The team that scores first is probably going to win.
But like I said, if England scores
70-80% over in the Euros.
But I'm just saying, if England scores first, that will allow soccer game. Really, they're going to feed off the crowd, and I think that's what England. That's why England's been successful because they played all their games, minus the Germany and the Ukraine game, at home. When they score, they feed off the crowd, but when they don't score, especially with that Scotland game.
They get nervous and they get negative energy.
And that's why I'm saying. That's why I think if Scotland Denmark can get their first goal, that puts doubt in them, and I think that's one of the
English. Not the best coach either.
I don't even think Denmark needs to score first. They just need to go late in the game, 0-0 or at a draw. Yeah. No.
Keeper wise, who has the better keeper? I think Peter Schmeichel.
So as an Everton fan. Mm-hmm. Jordan Pickford has had some howlers, and he has been very suspect in this tournament. He's been a damn revelation. He's been great, and I'll back him up every time. But he is well known for having one or two moments of what in the hell was that? Mm-hmm. So,
all right, final thoughts. So I think you guys are going with Italy. I think I'm going to support Sam Doyle, who I forgot. Sorry about that. And
Gleedle, Doyle, Ollie.
And I think they're going to bring it home. And like I said here, I think it would be a great story. If not,
guys, it's not going to happen.
If not, I would love to see Denmark win it, just obviously for that for it here. But I think Spain's the weakest team out of all four of these.
I don't disagree.
So final thoughts. We'll go with you, Roy. So that way, I'm sure Mighty Max is waiting patiently for his dad.
Yeah, Rex is. I can.
Or Mighty Rex, pardon me.
Yeah, you're good. I guess my final thought is kind of the thing we've been echoing So the stats are in the I'll find that stat here in a little bit so I can get it. But right now, says it took 51 days for Texas to get its COVID positivity rate from 5.25% down to the low of 2.81%. We are that low. It has just taken 16 days, so just over 2 weeks, to go from 2.81 right back up to 5.25 because of the Delta variant. Get vaccinated. There is, yes, it's a slight wave, but it's still a wave of COVID coming in because of the Delta variant. And from, I can't think of the timetable, but I think it's not this year, but it's within the last month, I believe, that 99.2%
of all June deaths
of all COVID deaths are from people that have not gotten their vaccine.
Yep, I
Get
tweeted
vaccinated.
that today.
For you, for your family, for your whole community, get vaccinated, people. Come on. We're all in this together. Love and courage.
Your thoughts, final thoughts, Rafa?
Just final thoughts. Just looking forward for this week. 3 games, three solid, 3 fun games. Well, especially this weekend, like I said, we're gonna have, I guess, Liga MX is really showcasing their league to San Antonio, and hopefully maybe that'll open the eyes. I said maybe we do need a Liga MX team here, and because the fan base is here, and hopefully, for, like I said, maybe for next year, if they want to build a fan base also for SAFC, is maybe kind of market the games all together, so that way they can showcase, not only Liga MX, but what we have as our product currently right now. But if we can get a good fan base out for this week, hey, Liga MX might be like, hey, we do need to come to San Antonio. There's a fan base here. Let's try to get a team here. We'll find a way to get it through CONCACAF about establishing the team. But they find ways. Money talks. I'm sure they've done it in the past. If Precourt can do it, I'm sure some people from Liga MX can do it too as well. So but I'm looking forward for this week's games, and hopefully, guys, see you guys tomorrow for the Querétaro game, and then the Friday game against Pumas.
My final thoughts, actually not soccer related, and I know we just celebrated the 4th of July, but San Antonio loves fireworks, especially around the 4th. There'll probably still be some more fireworks that go off here. But please be careful, because unfortunately, I believe it was the starting goaltender for the Columbus Blue Jackets.
It was the backup.
Oh, was it backup
for the? Yeah, he was 24.
Yeah,
pretty much what happened with him is they had a firework malfunction. He was in a hot tub with a bunch of people, and he fell on the firework, and it went off, and he lost his life. He was only 24, professional goalkeeper. Just it's tragic, man.
Just be careful, and like I said here, they're fun, but. Not only that, but if you own animals, dogs, the loud popping, and then of course, if you have PTSD, if you've served, veteran, along those lines here, just be careful. I understand New Year's, 4th of July, it's fun to go out and do it. Doing it at 2-3 o'clock in the morning, just be courteous and be responsible and along those lines here, for that here. So. Just please be careful. I know that was the big story today with the Columbus Blue Jackets goalkeeper, and you hear stories about what JPP Jason Peter-Paul with the Giants at the time damaged his career by having a firework blow off in his hand. So if it can happen to a professional athlete, you know damn well it can happen.
To anybody.
To us. So just be careful. If you are going to do fireworks, do it safe, but be courteous to neighbors, and especially if you've got veterans or animals around you. Just be careful, and if you have pets, bring them inside so that way you can kind of give them a little bit more protection from it here. But it was a long one. It was a little bit therapeutic. I think it probably surprised some people because I think most people thought we were going to be.
We're okay.
Well, I wouldn't say we're okay, but we're not hitting the panic button.
Guys are getting healthy. We're only a third into the season. According to stats, we're much better than what we've put the results on. Now, things always even up in sports. We'll be much better in the second half of the season. We'll come back. We'll make a run. We'll make a fun playoff run. We're going to laugh about this time. It's going to be good. We're going to have a good time.
Couple things. Maybe one, we need to take PC and Maloney to a curandero. Get them.
Oh, that's no. Everybody that is listening to this podcast, go buy 3 or 4 of the Virgin Mary candles at HEB right now and light them. We need that.
That was going to be a number. That was going to be my number 2. Is that get some candles and do the rosary. That way, Dylan and Patino start scoring some goals. That was my second part.
100%.
And then I guess this is something that we probably should discuss if everybody that's listening, if we can kind of put together some money to see if we can get our naming rights on the formerly AT&T Center.
Yeah.
That seems to be a pretty popular conversation of what it's going to be named next. And then you got to kind of wonder if that possibly has any ties to SAFC and Toyota Field. Maybe a little bit more sponsorship money going there if we can do that here. But
La Michoacana Field.
Fred's French fries, Fred's fish fry seems to be a popular for that here.
So what it's going to be, and this has been my call since AT&T sold their stake to Dell, it's not going to be the Dell Center, although it could be the Dell Center. We can call it the laptop, but I really think it's going to be the HEB Center, and we're going to call it the pantry. So there you go.
Well, guys, it was fun. Royce, glad to have you back after a couple of weeks on the shelf.
For real.
Rafa, hope you enjoyed your first part of your vacation. I know you got to go back to work tomorrow and then off until the end of July once the week comes around here. Hope to see people out at Toyota Field tomorrow and Friday. Not sure about a show next week. I'm sure we may try to have one. I personally don't put a lot of weight into friendlies. They're fun, kind of fun to go to and discuss, but if they lose, if they win 3-0 or lose 3-0, doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things, other than, hey, we won.
Stay healthy. Get healthy. That's all that
says. They play physical. So that's it. But we're going to get on out of here. Thank you for everybody that's turned in, Hector, Robert, James,
thanks y'all.
Aaron, and the SA Mexican all responded here with the messages here.
Conversation, yeah.
So I do want to appreciate you guys coming in and tuning in. We'll get this uploaded either tonight or tomorrow. But hope everybody has a great rest of the 4th of July week here, I guess, since yesterday was 4th of July. But what's life without goals? We're out.
Night, y'all.